Hi, welcome to Ames Responds to COVID-19, a question and answer program where Ames area organizations respond to your COVID-19 questions. I'm Susan Guiasa, the Public Relations Officer for the City of Ames. We have several questions that have come in. We have several guests available to respond. If you have a COVID-19 related question, call our City of Ames hotline at 515-239-5670 or email us at covid19@cityofames.org. We will try to get your question in on an upcoming show. Let's get to our panel with our questions. The first question goes to Daniel Hartwig. He's the head of special collections and university archives at Iowa State University. We've all been affected by the COVID pandemic in different ways, and Iowa State University's Special Collections and Archives is working to record and preserve those experiences. Daniel, what can you tell us about this new program?
Sure. During these trying times, we in Special Collections and University Archives are reaching out to various communities throughout Iowa to help us document this pandemic, not just for posterity's sake, but also a means for coping and hopefully to inspire change. As a result, we're leading 3 different projects to capture individual stories. The first targets the ISU community specifically, so faculty, students, staff, alums, and even community members are invited to record their stories. A second project is focused on stories from rural Iowans and those involved in agricultural and food production. And our third and final project is chronicling race and ethnicity during the pandemic. This project in particular is important given how communities of color are disproportionately affected due to underlying health and socioeconomic disparities. To encourage a diverse range of submissions, we're recommending individuals record their stories in whatever format they feel most comfortable or that which best expresses their sentiment. We welcome text and traditional narrative, poetry, creative writing, but also audio and video recordings, photographs, and/or photo essays. Even artwork such as drawings, illustrations, or comics. For those who have need or help required to get them started, we've created a few prompts to stimulate their thoughts, and the Writing and Media Center at Iowa State is partnering with us to provide additional one-on-one consulting to help individuals brainstorm, draft, revise, and polish their story. For more information about the projects, you can visit our website, which is found by Googling Iowa State Special Collections. There you can find additional information regarding projects, terms and conditions, and links to submit content or sign up for an oral history. Any questions can be sent to archives@iowastate.edu. So we, invite individuals throughout the state to help us share their stories and provide context for this unique historical event. Generations from now, people want to know what happened and how we responded. And we see this project as a key contribution to the historical record of these events.
So Daniel, I'm sure you know a lot of people are very interested in comparing this to the Spanish flu of more than a century ago. The way that you are recording this, I'm assuming we'll have this multimedia approach that people, particularly when we look at the Spanish flu, we're looking at writings, but this will have other elements in it.
Absolutely, and there is a key photograph that's been making the rounds at the moment. So there's a great photograph we have of the Iowa State campus in one of our gymnasiums that was, holding lots of those who were suffering from the pandemic. So again, we only have, a few documents, and a few photographs documenting that experience. And so, historians, currently are trying to find out, what was going on during those times. And so by recording these stories in real time, we will be able to provide future generations much more context, much more information, much more resources to have a more diverse and inclusive representation of the pandemic than just a few resources.
And it sounds like you are extending this beyond just the Iowa State University community to the community at whole.
Absolutely. So most archives and special collections throughout the United States are doing similar projects to document what's going on campus. But we thought it'd be even more important to document what's going on throughout the communities of Iowa. And given our strong research interest in collections documenting agricultural and rural stories, that we want to capture those stories as well, because it's not just an Iowa State experience. It's really an Iowan experience. And so we, interested in soliciting stories from throughout the state.
Well, we do live in interesting times. It would be, it's nice to think of a time in the future where we can look back on this and we've moved out of this pandemic.
Yes, and hopefully we will learn from this experience and do better next time.
Thank you very much for that answer. Our next question is regarding medical care and medical attention. We're going to throw this question to Steve Sullivan with Mary Greeley Medical Center. Is the hospital returned to performing elective outpatient surgeries at this time? And if so, is it safe?
Well, yes, we have. We've been doing elective surgeries for about 2 weeks now following the governor's proclamation that these types of surgeries and procedures can begin again. Safety, regardless of pandemics, safety is always the priority with anything we do at the hospital. With the current situation, we've had to add a couple extra layers, of course. And so we have 14 ORs. We're only using maybe half of them. So we're not up to our usual schedule of surgeries. We are trying to pace them, if you will, making sure that we are scheduling surgeries in terms of how long they might take, getting certain groups in certain days. So we're regulating the number of surgeries that are happening every day. Everyone who comes into the hospital is screened. That goes for our patients. There are no visitors allowed still. If you're bringing someone in for a surgical procedure, you will be dropping them off, except in a very few circumstances, a few exceptions. At this point, we are only doing outpatient surgery. So that's a way to preserve PPE. And also, we're not keeping people in the hospital as inpatients following surgery under those circumstances. We've also started doing a drive-through COVID-19 screening process for people who have scheduled procedures. So let's say that there's an expectant mom and they're scheduled to have a C-section. We will be contacting them, having them come to the hospital, to the discharge door several days prior to their scheduled procedure, and we will be doing a COVID test on them. Now, this isn't the one where with the long swab that goes way up into the nose. It is that's a test that is testing for a variety of things, including COVID. We are simply doing a test to rule out COVID. So it involves a smaller swab and just going slightly into the nostril. So it's not that more intense one that everyone's been hearing about. So those people are coming through a couple days prior to their procedure. We're doing the test. That way we can have the results already. Meanwhile, we're also doing on-site testing for inpatients only. So those safety processes are in place. We're screening, we're keeping surgery. While we're busy, we're keeping it to levels that aren't at our normal capacity. Now, next week, the week of May 18th, we anticipate that we will be able to start, to some degree, inpatient surgeries that require the patient to be with us following their surgery for a day or more.
Well, I know that it might seem scary to head to the hospital at this point, but as we've talked about this in the past, delaying medical attention also has risks, and it really is good to start these processes again and seek medical attention when you need it.
Absolutely, and no one should be ignoring any sort of health concern they have or an illness that they have. They should be reaching out to their primary care physician to see what needs to be done and what should be done.
Thanks, Steve. I think you've provided a very thorough answer to that question. Switching gears, our last question will go to Keith Abraham with City of Ames Park and Recreation. The Ames City Council recently provided some guidance regarding reopening city facilities. What does that look like for Parks and Recreation?
The City Council had a lengthy discussion about a number of items related to opening, whether it's facilities, programs, events on city property, and so on. What we did do is we provided the city council with some criteria, and which city council agreed with regarding either continuing closures or reopening facilities. So the first thing that they did is they did elect to close city facilities, which include City Hall, the community center, the library, through July 1st. Some of the facilities that they excluded was the Furman Aquatic Center, municipal pool, and the ice arena. They looked at those separately. So that was the first thing. So anything that we do at the community center, City of Ames auditorium, all of those activities would not be able to be held through July 1st. They looked at the Furman Aquatic Center separately. There's a lot of outside guidance from the CDC, from the governor's office, from American Red Cross, IDPH, that will help us make the decision. So what they did with the Furman Aquatic Center is they have asked staff to get some additional information, hear what the governor is saying about pools, and bring back a recommendation on May 26th. And they will make a decision regarding Furman Aquatic Center and municipal pool at that time. With the ice arena, with this one, we feel this might be the one of the easier ones for us to open up earlier than maybe some of the other facilities. It still comes with challenges, but we can control the number of people that come into the facility a little bit better. We don't have the crowds like we would at the aquatic center. So with this one, what the council did is they deferred the decision making to staff. That one staff, again, looking at the guidance from various organizations, in this case, U.S. Rink Associations, which we're a member of, provide some guidance. They have given staff the authority to make that decision as to when we should open. And I would just add, just because we can open doesn't mean that it's going to happen right away. We need to make sure that with all of these things that we have precautions for patrons, precautions for staff, we have cleaning protocol in place. We can get all the materials and the cleaning supplies that we need to keep things clean and sanitized. So with all of that, we're having conversations, and at some point we feel that we will be able to open the ice arena prior to July 1st. We just don't know when that is yet at this point. Then one of the other things, we do have a variety of programs and activities that we offer. And council, again, with this one, because of the variety and the number of people that we have in some of these programs, they have deferred this decision making to staff as well. So again, this is one for people that are watching. We may elect to start offering some smaller outdoor programs, but then again, things at the community center we would not offer until after July 1st when that facility opens. Again, here too, there are guidelines. The CDC is right now is recommending that there's no organized youth and adult sports leagues, that are happening. So again, people think, oh, great, they can start offering programs. Again, we're still looking to CDC and other organizations to provide guidance for us on those activities. And then the last one that the council, actually two things, but they did look at events on city property, non-city events on city property or in the parks. This includes like the 4th of July parade, the pancake breakfast on 4th of July, the city council does, Rummage Rampage, block party trailer, municipal band. These are some of the specific events that we had shared with city council, and they did vote to suspend or to not allow those programs and any other events through September 1st. If there are any events that are done on city property that were not specifically mentioned at the council meeting, then we will use that same criteria that we use to make a decision with the ones that I did mention. For example, Roosevelt Sunday concerts that they have at Roosevelt Park. That was one that we would work through, but the organizers of that event have already said that they will be canceling, their 2020 concerts. But there's a number of other events that we'll need to look at. And then one that they did pull out from those events was the farmers market. And the farmers market, it is done by the Ames Chamber of Commerce. And the city council is allowing them to conduct the farmers market, and that could be happening sometime soon.
So it was a lot of decision making, and I think what needs to be remembered is that the public health and safety was the forefront of those decisions.
Yeah, and that's exactly, Steve just mentioned it about safety is also always at the top of the list. And same thing for us. Just because we can open doesn't mean that we will until we know that it will be safe for all of our patrons, and we'll do what's best for the community as well. And like you said, Susan, it's a lot of information. You can always go to our website, cityofames.org, and look for updates regarding closures and other information as it relates to city business.
Yeah, thanks, Kate, for that reminder. Please remember that you can get information on the latest closings and updates regarding COVID-19 at the City of Ames website. That's cityofames.org/COVID-19. We do have links on that page to our guests' websites as well today, including Mary Greeley Medical Center and Iowa State University. I'd like to thank our panel of guests for being on this episode of Ames Responds. Daniel Hartwig with Iowa State University Special Collections and University Archives, Steve Sullivan with Mary Greeley Medical Center, and Keith Abraham with the City of Ames Parks and Recreation Department. Is there something that you're curious about? Let us know. We can put together another show and we will include your questions. Let us know again. That City of Ames hotline is 515-239-5670. Or again, email us at covid19@cityofames.org. Finally, please remember that we are living in rapidly changing times, and the information that we provided to you today is the most accurate we have, but it could change. Please continue to check reliable news sources for your information. Thanks for watching.